Bhagavate Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for joining today. We'd like to seek the blessings of Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Madhav, Radha Damodar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Gurunitai, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. It's the appearance day of Nimbarkacharya, and also it's the last day of Kartik, last day of Bhishma Panchak as well. So it's been an amazing month and busy month. It's been an interesting, very good month. Thanking the Lord for giving us the opportunity to do some little seva for him. So Nimbarkacharya was one of the main acharyas in one of the sampradayas. So let's have a look at the timeline of these sampradayas and also appearance of the Lord. Lord appeared 5,000 years ago, Krishna, and then Buddha came 2,500 years ago, approximately 500 BC. 1,000 years later, Sankaracharya came in order to displace the Buddhist philosophy. So Buddha came because there was too much animal sacrifice going on in the name of the Vedas. So Buddha came and he said, don't follow the Vedas anymore. And it worked. The animal sacrifice is reduced. Then Lord Krishna asked Sankaracharya to come and re-establish the Vedas, but not to reveal his personal form. Re-establish the Vedas, but to put the Brahma Jyoti at the forefront, so that one looks at the Mayavadi philosophy as the ultimate in God realization. And also
So,
that, yes.
Prabhu, just can you re-explain that? Who came?
So first, of course, Krishna came. After Krishna left, Maya, Kali, the age of Kali really took over, and the Brahmins were misusing the Vedas in order to do animal sacrifices so that they could basically enjoy the taste of meat. And animal sacrifices became very prominent. So that time, Krishna came again as Buddha, or he is one of the 10 avatars. And Buddha came and basically preached that the Vedas should now be ignored. And that worked. The Vedas should no longer be used as the authoritative scriptures due to the misuse of the Vedas, especially in view of the animal sacrifices taking place. So that was 2,500 years ago. And then 1,000 years later, Sankaracharya came because Buddhism spread very wide. But Buddhist philosophy was not including the concept of God, doesn't include the concept of God. It talks more about non-violence and ahimsa. So then, Lord Krishna asked Sankaracharya to go and re-establish the Vedas.
So,
yeah.
Sorry, Prabhu. So Sankaracharya, he came from Golok?
Yeah, he's Shiva. He's non-different from Shiva. So he's not quite from Golok, but he is Sadashiva in the spiritual world. So Lord Shiva is very close to Krishna. And in this material world, he lives in Kailash. But he has a very close relationship with Narayan, Vishnu, Krishna. So Krishna told him, you have to re-establish the way. But he said, you have to preach about my impersonal form. And Sankaracharya didn't want to do that. He said, why? I want to glorify you, your personal form. And Krishna said, no, nobody's ready for that. First, establish the Vedas. Give them some faith in the Vedas. And then later, I will come as Chaitanya. I will come also as I will come as the inspiration of the 4 Sampradaya heads. to establish my personal form as the best form of worship. Does that make sense, Shyamalini?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So after Shankaracharya re-established the Vedas, but the Mayavadi philosophy that I am God, I want to become God, I am God, it took prominence as well. So Mayavad philosophy was very prominent after Shankaracharya came. And then, oops, what happened? Oh, sorry, it's this side. Then the leaders of the four sampradayas started to come one by one. Vishnu Swami came first, 6000 AD, 100 years after Shankaracharya. Sri Sampradaya Ramanujacharya came. Very famous Ramanujacharya. Very, very, very famous, especially in the south of India. So he came 500 years after Shankaracharya. Then came Nimbarkacharya. So that's the personality we want to talk about today. That was 600 years after Shankaracharya. And then finally came Madhavacharya, 700 years after. So the four sampradayas, they all refute Shankaracharya's philosophy of Mayavad. But remember, Shankaracharya didn't want to preach that. That was something that was requested by the Lord to preach. So then the four sampradayas came, and one by one, they refuted Shankaracharya's philosophy. But if we look at Shankaracharya's life and the bhajans that he sang, for example, yesterday we sang the Radha Kathas, something anyway, all about Radharani, written by Shankaracharya. So he's a great devotee of the Lord. He's Shiva. Anyway, then Chaitanya came, 1,000 years after Shankaracharya. He is the Lord himself. And at the same time, he consolidated all of the four sampradayas. They took teachings from all four of them. And then, of course, Srila Prabhupada. So, four sampradayas, and also the Gaudiya Sampradaya led by Chaitanya. There's Rudra, Pokumara, Sri, Brahma. And they all have slightly different forms of deities that they worship. Their philosophy is slightly different from each other, but all of the philosophies negate this Mayavad philosophy, that I can become God, basically. Yes, Nanivan?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Are these all four sampradayas still active?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Vallabhacharyas is very active, especially in Gujarat.
Yes.
The Nimbarkacharya is in Vrindavan, very strong, very, very strong.
Vrindavan?
Yeah, Vrindavan. They're very strong, Nimbarkacharya. The four Kumaras. Sri Sampradaya all over South Bharat. That is the prominent Sampradaya in South India. And Brahma Sampradaya is there. Again, Brahma Sampradaya is partly in the south. Udupi is the base of Madhavacharya. But also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorified it. So in Bengal, the Gaudiya basically adopted the Madhavacharya Sampradaya. And then the Gaudiya, through Chaitanya, they consolidated. And if you look at the philosophy, this is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is unique from all of the others. The others, they basically talk about duality. God is one and we are separate. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, we're one with God, but we're also separate. We're both. That's really unique, very unique. Because in one sense, we are one with God. We are spirit soul. God is spirit soul. But we are tiny. We're minute. God is, magnificent, huge, source of everything. We are controlled. He's the controller. So like that. And all of these sampradayas, they have slightly different nuances, slightly different from each other. Not hugely different, slightly different, which makes them unique in themselves. So then And also the mood of worship is slightly different. In the Rudra Sampradaya, the mood is parental, friendship, conjugal. In the four Kumaras, it's the same. In the Sri Sampradaya, servant or parent. Brahma Sampradaya is servant. That's the main mood. But in the Gaudiya, which is the Brahma Gaudiya, Brahma Madhav, so Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Sampradaya, all the five become prominent. All the five types of relationships: neutrality, servant, friend, parent, and conjugal. So this gives a full ambit of everything. And the deity they worship is also a little different. Krishna in Ashinga, in Rudra, Fokumas is Krishna. Vishnu and Ram is the Shri. In south of Bharat, they have so many deities of Lord Vishnu, extraordinary, huge deities. And Ram. And Brahma Sampradaya is mainly Vishnu form. And then the Gaudiya, Radha Krishna, mainly Radha Krishna. So like that. So let's have a look at Nimbarkacharya. Accurate biographies are difficult to find, yet authorities agree that Sri Nimbarkacharya preached Krishna consciousness about 300 years before the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Born in the modern day Murgara Patam in southern Dravidan province, he was the son of Aruni and Jayanti, a very pious Brahmin couple of the Tailanga order. Nimbarkacharya was a great ascetic of the Tridandi order. Tridandi means basically sannyasi. And he wrote many books according to the Dvaita, Advaita, but simultaneous oneness and duality. He lived most of his devotional life at a place called Nimbarkacharya, near Govardhan at Vrindavan. So most of his life was spent in Vrindavan. Hence why this Nimbarkacharya Sampradaya is mainly grounded in Vrindavan area. While at Nimbarkacharya, he defeated a great Jain Pandit in a discussion. The Jain had refused to dine with him, saying that the sun had already set. And so he could not take any more food. At this, Nimbarkacharya, by his own potency, made the sun appear from a Nimba tree, and the astonished Jain accepted his hospitality. It is said that his name, Nimbarka, or Nimbadvita, Ditya, has been derived from this miracle of Aditya, or Arka, meaning sun from a Nimba tree. Once in a village near the forest of Bilva Paksh in Navadvip, a group of Brahmins came to engage in the worship of Shiva, Lord Shiva. Just as Lord Vishnu is very much pleased when he is offered the leaves of his most beloved Tulasi, so Shiva is pleased by offerings of leaves from the Bilva or Bail tree. So that's very good. Plus the Brahmins worship Lord Shiva by offering Bilva leaves for a period of 1 fortnight and satisfied Lord Shiva greatly. Among those Brahmins was one whose name was Nimbarka. He had been particularly attentive in his worship of Lord Shiva, being especially pleased with Nimbarka's devotion. Lord Shiva personally appeared to him and he said, Nimbarka, at the edge of this village is a sacred Bail forest. There in that forest, the 4 Kumaras are absorbed in meditation. By their mercy, you will receive transcendental knowledge, for they are your spiritual masters. And by rendering service unto them, you will receive all that is valuable. So remember, this Sampradaya is started by the 4 Kumaras, and they give that knowledge to Nimbarkacharya. And Nimbarkacharya is regarded as the Sampradaya Acharya, because he was so prominent. After saying this, Lord Shiva disappeared. Yes, Nanivan?
Yes, Prabhuji, these 4 Kumaras, they appeared in which yuga? In the Satyug?
Satyug. Yeah.
And that's when it all started.
Yeah. Yeah, same as Brahma. They're the first sons of Brahma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, so the same 4 Kumaras who to whom Nimbarkacharya got his knowledge.
Yeah, the same. The same.
They're still around.
They're still around. Oh yeah. They are eternal sons. I mean, they're gonna be, they're always around. The four Kumaras. They have the life span of Brahma, same as Brahma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're always remaining small boys, brahmacharis. Amazing, amazing. Prabhupada, you're muted.
Yeah, Hare Krishna to everybody, Prabhuji. Just now you mentioned about this four, what did you say?
Oh, four Kumaras.
Four Kumaras. I was a little bit busy, so my video was not on. And you said they are still around. That does it mean, is it their children, or is it
No,
just
they're not around this world. They're around in the heavenly planets. Tapalok.
Tapalok? But
Yeah.
can we
Can see
see
them?
them? Can we?
Well, Nimbarkacharya saw them. It is possible. It is possible, but you have to be at a very high level of purity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they are around.
They are around, and they can come to Earth. They can travel anywhere in the universe. They have this free right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
they're less like little boys. What happened was when they took birth, they were the first children of Brahma. He wanted them to make other children, but they refused. They said, no, this life is too short. We're not going to do that. We're going to worship the Supreme. So then Brahma cursed them, okay? You want to worship, you always remain little children. So that curse is actually a blessing. So they're always little children. They don't have any thoughts. They don't have any, they're very innocent, very
innocent, and they're pure.
Very pure. Very, very, very pure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nimbaka immediately went to that place, and with great determination, he searched for the four Kumaras in every direction until he found them, shining as brightly as the sun. They were seated on a very beautiful natural platform beneath a tree, and they appeared like fire blazing on an altar. They were all very young, seeming to be no more than 5 years in age, but they appeared most noble in character as they sat there naked, wrapped in meditation. Nimbaka was so excited, he cried out, Hare Krishna. This sudden sound startled the four brothers, breaking their meditation. Opening their eyes, they saw before them the blissful form of an ideal devotee, and with great pleasure they embraced Nimbaka, one after another, and asked, who are you? Where have you come from? We are certainly ready to answer all your prayers. Nimbaka fell at the feet of the four brothers like a rod, and with great humility, he introduced himself. With a sweet smile on his face, Sanat Kumar then said, the all-merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowing that Kali Yuga will be extremely troublesome for the living entities, resolved to propagate devotional service himself. With this goal in mind, he has empowered four personalities with devotion and sent them into this world to preach. That's Ramanuja, Madhava, and Vishnu Swami are three. And you, Nimbarkacharya, are the fourth of these great souls. So these three we've already talked about. Now he's talking about the fourth himself. Lakshmi accepted Ramanujacharya as disciple. So the Shri Sampradaya, the head is Lakshmi Shri. She gave Ramanuja great prominence. Brahma has his own Sampradaya. He accepted Madhavacharya. Rudra, Shiva, he accepted Vishnu Swami. And meeting you today, we have the good fortune of being able to instruct you, Nimbarkacharya. This is our intention. Previously, we were engaged in meditating on the impersonal Brahman. This is that same as what Shankaracharya was preaching. This is what the four Kumaras were inclined towards, the impersonal Brahman. But by the causeless mercy of Lord Vishnu, we have been relieved of this sinful activity. Since I have realized that it is essential to preach pure devotional service, I have composed a literary work entitled Sanat Kumar Samhita. After taking initiation from me, you should follow the instructions I have set forth therein. Nimbarkacharya was greatly enlightened at the prospect of taking initiation, and he immediately ran to take bath in the Ganga. After this, he quickly returned and prostrated himself once more before the effulgent brothers and said, "O deliverer of the fallen, please deliver this low-born rascal." Very humble. The four Kumaras gave him the Radha Krishna mantra and instructed him in the method of worshipping Radha and Krishna with the sentiment of great love and called Bhav Marg. In that sacred Bail forest, Nimbaka began to worship Shri Radha and Krishna according to the Sanat Kumar Samhita, and he chanted the mantra they had given him. Very soon, Radha and Krishna revealed themselves to Nimbarkacharya. They stood before him, spreading an effulgence which illuminated all directions. In sweet voices, they addressed him as such. Nimbaka, you are very fortunate, for you have performed sadhana in Sri Navadvip. We both combine and assume one form as a son of Sachidevi. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At that moment, Radha and Krishna combined and displayed their form of Gauranga. Beholding this splendid vision, Nimbaka began to tremble. Never have I seen or heard of such a form at any time. Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, keep this form which I now show you a secret for the time being. Just preach about devotional service and the pastimes of Radha Krishna, for I gain great satisfaction from this. When I make my appearance and perform my educational pastimes, you will also appear. Taking birth in Kashmir as a great Pandit, you will tour all over India, defeating all opposition. Your reputation and learning will be celebrated everywhere, and you will be known as Keshava Kashmiri. Whilst wandering in Sri Navadvip, you will come to Sri Mayapur. Simply by hearing your name, all the great Pandits of Navadvip will flee. Intoxicated with scholastic pride, I will take pleasure in defeating you. However, by the mercy of Mother Saraswati, goddess of learning, you will realize my true identity. Giving up your false pride, you will take shelter of me, and I will reward you with the supreme gift of loving devotional service, and will again dispatch you to preach. Thus, you can satisfy me by preaching the philosophy of Dvaita Advaita. Keep my identity a secret. In future, when I begin my Sankirtan movement, I will personally preach, taking the essence of your philosophy and the philosophies of Madhva Ramanuja and Vishnu Swami. So what's interesting about this is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Nimbarkacharya that I will come as Gauranga. Right? So this is before, Nimbarkacharya came after Gauranga, but he's telling him beforehand that you will first come as Keshava Kashmiri. So the timeline is a little inconceivable for us to understand, but somehow this is what is described. This is the pastime as it's described. So
Nimbarkacharya, he came
after Ramanujacharya.
Yes, Ramanuja, before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, isn't it?
Before Chaitanya, that's right.
And then during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was Keshava Kashmiri from.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. And then Keshava Kashmiri effectively is the same as Nimbarkacharya.
So both are into the Krishna then.
Yes. And in fact, more Radha Krishna. Nimbarkacharya is Radha Krishna.
Yeah.
Because if you see this thing here, Sanat Kumar gave him the Radha Krishna mantra.
Mm.
And Radha Krishna revealed themselves to her. So this is extraordinary. So it looks like Nimbarkacharya would have got this information all even before he was born from Sanat Kumar. So how the timeline exactly works is a little difficult to understand. Because as you said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears after Nimbarkacharya. So from you, Nimbarka, I will take two important principles: the necessity of taking shelter of Srimati Radharani. So this is so interesting. And the high esteem of the Braj Gopis' love for Krishna. Lord Gauranga disappeared after instructing Nimbarka. Shedding tears of ecstasy, Nimbarka left Navadvip to begin his preaching mission. In Chaitanya Lila, Nimbarka appears as Keshava Kashmiri and received love of Godhead directly from Nimai Pandit. So the source of this is from Sri Navadvip Mahatmya. So this is one of the scriptures that we refer to. There are striking similarities between the Gaudiyas and the Nimbarkacharyas. The followers of Nimbarka accept the 6 forms of surrender. So, which is what Rupa Goswami has written: accept things favorable for discharging devotional service, reject things which are unfavorable, always believe firmly in the Lord's protection, feel exclusive dependency on the mercy of the Lord, have no interest separate from the interest of the Lord, feel oneself meek and humble. These are really very sweet principles to live by.
I was also thinking that this is such a close resemblance to the Gaudiyas.
Very, very close, very close. I think the difference is how they perceive Radharani. Because in the Gaudiya, Radharani is an unmarried girl who is having close relationship with Krishna. And that unmarried relationship is the highest form of parakya love, bhav. And especially when they separate, when he goes to Mathura. Radharani's love increases dramatically through this period of separation. So the Nimbarkacharya practice the 9 limbs of bhakti: hearing, chanting, Shavanam, Kirtan, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhya, Atmanivedam. So hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the Lord's lotus feet, worshipping the deities, praying, servant of the Lord, friend of the Lord, and complete surrender. They believe in Dasmula, 10 cardinal points of Gaudiya philosophy, which are the Vedas are the principal scriptures which give the 9 principles. Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. Krishna is omnipotent. He's the fountainhead of all relationships and love. Living entities are separated parts and parcels. The jiva, as being marginal energy, may come under the sway of material energy. The jiva in the liberated condition is free of the influence of material nature. The jiva is simultaneously one and different from the Supreme Lord. Pure devotional service is living entities' occupation and means. So what's the difference? Hardly anything. The pure love of Krishna is living entities' ultimate goal. So you can't really even distinguish between the two. They also worship Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. They worship Srimati Radharani as the topmost devotee. They accept the gopis' love for Krishna is supreme. With beads, bhajan, and kirtan, the Nimbarkacharya chant their version of the Mahamantra. So this is the mantra they chant. Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Radhe Shyam, Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe. In Vrindavan, about 1 mile from Govardhan, there is a village of Nimbarkacharya, named after Nimbarkacharya, who lived there from childhood and later performed bhajan there. Many of Radha Krishna's pastime places in Vrindavan are now manifested by the maintained, by the Nimbarkacharya sect. In Mathura Vrindavan, innumerable devotees follow Nimbaka path of bhakti. The Sriji Mandir, just off Loy Bazaar in Vrindavan, serves as the center of Nimbarkacharya Sampradaya. Okay. So his famous works are all these different books: Vedanta Parijata, Shaurupa, Sadachar Prakash, Gita Bhasya, Rahasya Sodasi, Krishna Stavaraj, Pana Kalpa Vali, Prata Smara Stotram, Kamadenu Das Sloki. So different commentaries on the Vedas, Upanishads, Karmakand, Bhagavad Gita, explanation of the Gopal mantra, supreme possession of Krishna, explanation of the Mukunda mantra, and devotional poem in 10 nectarian verses about Radha Krishna. What are the differences? The sweet devotional sentiment of Manjaris, following their Naika Shrimati Radharani, is unique in Gaudiya Vaishnavism and the highest of everything ever aspired by a sadhika. This mood is not practiced by any other sampradaya. So this is one of the differences. Big difference. Because if you look at our line, there's a lot of Manjaris. Rupa Manjari and Guna Manjari and Prem Manjari, like that. So many different Manjaris. Rati Manjari. But Nimbarkacharya, they don't give too much importance to the Manjaris. But the Manjaris are even more important than the Gopis. The Manjaris can have access to Leela, which Radha Krishna perform in front of them, but they don't perform in front of the Gopis. So the position of Manjaris is considered to be the highest of all. So that's very small difference, extremely small difference. So what are the teachings that Gauranga took from all of the sampradayas, each of the sampradayas? From the Sri Sampradaya, he took unalloyed bhakti, free from karma and gyan, service to bhaktas. From the Brahma Sampradaya, complete defeat of Mayavad philosophy, worship of Krishna. Rudra, he took total dependence on Krishna, path of spontaneous devotion. And the four Kumaras, he took exclusive shelter of Radharani, exalted love of gopis for Krishna. So this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu combined all of these four sampradayas into the Gaudiya. That's it. Okay, any questions? Not easy to completely grasp Nimbarkacharya because there's not that much information available. So we've just put together a few things.
Prabhuji,
yes.
That temple which is lots of steps in Lohi Bazaar, is that the one of the
Sriji.
Huh?
Is that the Sriji one? With lots of steps.
I mean, lots and lots of steps to go up.
And is that the one with the foresty? It's a little foresty one.
It is in the Lohi Bazaar, that's I remember.
A lot of steps. I don't remember that one. There's Radha Raman temple near Lohi Bazaar.
But it has lots of steps to climb up?
No.
No, Radha Raman we have seen. No, that's not.
The big steps are in like Varsana and those, Nandagaon. No,
I'm talking about Lohi Bazaar.
Can't remember temple with lots of steps.
Radha Shamsundar.
We went up the steps.
Radha Shamsundar maybe.
Radha Shamsundar.
Okay,
yes, that might be. Is that Nimbarkacharya's Sampradaya? Might well be actually. I think that is. You're right. We didn't actually manage to go there. When we went, it was closed. But yes, that is Radha Shamsundar's temple, and that is Nimbarkacharya's.
And there's a little cave, the Radharani.
There's a little cave where they have the samadhis or something.
And on
we
the
went there when we went in 2018, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
We went there when
2018,
in 2018, not this time.
Yeah. So that's the one. That is, I think that is the Nimbarkacharya. Their tilak is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they wear yellow dhotis quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so this, we're wondering where in Vrindavan. We didn't see them this time.
But there's a huge presence of Nimbarkacharya's devotees in the Vrindavan area. Huge presence.
I'm quite surprised by so much similarities.
Yes, hugely similar. Hugely similar. Even the mantra is pretty much the same. So,
Yeah, it's just a mantra is same, but different names, but it doesn't mean much, isn't it? Same.
no, it's very little difference. Yeah, very little
So for
difference.
this Radha.
Yeah, because we say Harech, they say Radha.
Yeah.
So very little difference. Amazing.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, anything else? Anybody else? Okay, let's stop. So
Yeah, Prabhuji,
Hare
one
Krishna.
question.
Sure.
Just now you said there are lots of devotees,
Nimbarkacharya.
Nimbarkacharya, and you see them. Is this where you went just now? In the
Vrindavan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's
and
right.
you
But
see talking
he's-
about Nimbarkacharya.
Nimbarkacharya. We didn't see so many this time because I think, we were a little insulated. We were going around, people were showing us around. So normally when we walk around, you see these students of Nimbarkacharya walking around. Yeah. Very strict students.
Oh.
Yeah, very strict.
When you say strict, what way is strict?
They're like Gurukuli children.
I know. Gurukuli, I know.
Yeah. And they're studious.
They don't like mix with girls, they keep to
they're
themselves.
very strict in their sadhana. Yeah.
Sadhana, okay.
Yeah,
Nice. Thank you.
No,
Thank you very
so
much.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So,
The scriptures, Prabhu, you said to refer.
is that Shyamalini?
Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry. Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned the scriptures we need to refer to for everything you've talked about. Which scriptures were that?
This is, we've put it together from Prabhupada's books, and there's one scripture which talks about this pastime with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is this one here. Shri Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. That has the information about the interaction between Nimbarkacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Nimbarkacharya ki jai. So today is also the final day of Kartik Maas, Bhishma Panchak. So I'd like to congratulate everybody who's survived. We try to do as much as we can. And this month, we just try to maximize the amount of bhakti we can do. And the idea really is, after doing it for 1 month, you just carry on. So that's one of the ideas of this vrat for a month. Just carry on. So it's been a very nice month, and one can finish one's fast if one has been doing a fast for Bhishma Panchak after moonrise today, which is, I think, around about 5:30-ish. So devotees may want to ideally you try to feed some Brahmins or some devotees. If you can't do it physically, you can do it mentally. You can just manasi think through it and invite some guests, invite your guru and feed them and give them some dakshina and ask for their blessings. It's a really very powerful way to finish a fast. And you try to offer them food, which is what we've been fasting from for the last 4 months, which was spinach, yogurt, milk, and arta. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's stop now. Bhishma Panchak ki jai, Radha Damodar ki jai, Kartik Mas ki jai, Nimbarkacharya ki jai.